Okay, we're going to carry on here. I have a chart or a graph that's going to give you a better explanation of the cutting tools, products, the durability, and so on. We'll start off with high-speed steel, and this chart is set up so that we're looking at the tenacity of the durability of that tool, how well it's going to hold an edge, and so on. And then I'm also going to look at resistance to wear, and that's our comparison. So we'll start off with high-speed steel, and as you can see, high-speed steel, as far as flexibility and so on, it is actually a really good product. The only difficulty with high-speed steel is that it does not hold an edge for very long. If you're running softwoods, you get a little bit more life out of it. It does not work well with hardwoods, and it doesn't work at all with man-made products. That's why we have to go to a carbide, and as you can see, carbide, that's the darker area in here, the dark blue. Carbide tip is the preferred product for wood manufacturing, and that is because of it's fairly central as far as durability and strength and flexibility. We use it on all of our table saw blades, router cutters, shaper cutters, and so on. And as I talked earlier, there's different grades of carbide. So depending on how much you invest in the tool, and of course the prep of the tool is also a factor too, whether they have the cutting angles and so on done up correctly. The most durable product that we have available to us today is the polycrystalline diamond and the monocrystalline diamond. These are products that are used exclusively on CNC machines. Anywhere that you have controlled feed and controlled cutter rotation and controlled pressure. That is three components that are required in order to get the best performance out of diamond tip tooling. Interesting thing about the diamond tooling versus carbide tip, when you purchase a carbide tip tool, when you send it out for sharpening, it's actually ground on the face of the tool, and they grind it so that actually reduces the diameter of the tool every time they grind that. With diamond tip, they actually remove the diamond off the tool, they sharpen it, and then reinstall it on the tool, and it's replaced and put back into the exact same position as to where you bought it. So they guarantee the diameter of that tool when you make that purchase, and that's one of the things why it costs so much for that type of tooling. We'll move forward to the next section there, Lord. So in this one here, I want to talk about tool wear. These are the factors which may cause tooling to wear out. And some of the stuff here is fairly straightforward. We wanted to mention the material being cut, whether it's solid, plywood, or particle board, man-made products. That's going to have a significant impact on the life of that tool. Heat buildup, how well your cutting tool dispenses that heat. Excessive heat in the cutting zone, and that is going to have a factor into your clearance, your back angle clearance, and so on, the cutting angle and so on of that tool. It's all going to have a factor on the heat buildup. Tool balancing, poor quality cuts, bearing wear, excessive noise, increased tool wear, and we've talked about this with the molder and the shaper, is the importance of having properly designed tools as far as balancing goes. Anything that's going to generate vibration is going to have a direct impact on that cutting tool. Stress on the cutting tool, that's going to be a factor with work support. So if we have a controlled pressure device, such as a power feed unit, such as a vacuum system that we have on the CNC router, we're going to get more life out of that tool. And a few things that a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they're working with this tooling, and how you handle the tools. And I often talk about this when I'm doing demonstrations in classes. You should never set a tool down on a steel surface. You always have a piece of plywood or something there to set that tool down and reduce the risk of damage. And how you handle that tool during a tool changeover, whether you're bumping it or so on the frame of the machine, that all has a factor. Tool storage. In our tool room, we have pegs on the wall that we're hanging tools on. How you look after your tools is going to have a big impact. Whether you're just setting them on a shelf and you're piling tools on top of each other, all of that's going to have an impact. And of course, a tool maintenance program. It's a great idea to have regular service on your tools. It will extend the life of your tools, and a lot of companies will have a maintenance program set up in place and tool design. And that is something that you set up with your tool supplier. More often than not, they are the ones that are actually going to design the tool, and so they are the best ones to actually maintain and care for that tool. So these are just some things that will extend the life of your cutting tools.